Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered what if the vast cosmos above us is not just out there, but also within us? What if the structure of galaxies and the movement of stars mirrors something deep inside your very own being? What if the secrets of the universe are encoded not only in distant constellations, but in the silent spaces of your mind and the beating of your heart, as above, so below, as within, so without? These simple but profound words carved into the ancient emerald tablet hold one of the most powerful truths in spiritual philosophy. They whisper of a hidden connection, a divine thread linking all levels of existence, from the swirling galaxies to the tiniest cell from your thoughts to the fabric of reality itself. This is the Hermetic principle of correspondence, an ancient insight that invites us to peer beneath the surface of things to see that reality isn't fragmented, but mirrored. The microcosm, our internal world, is a reflection of the macrocosm, the grand universe. And the reverse is just as true. What if I told you that the same intelligence that orchestrates the dance of galaxies also animates the atoms spinning inside your body, that the same patterns that shape the universe also shape your life, your emotions, your relationships? This is not just poetic metaphor. It is a philosophical, mystical, and now increasingly scientific truth. In today's video, we're going to go deep beyond appearances, beyond matter, beyond even thought, to explore how this principle connects ancient wisdom with modern science, and how it can transform your understanding of yourself and the universe. We'll uncover how this law can be applied to your life in ways that are practical, spiritual, and truly life-changing. So take a deep breath, open your mind, because what you're about to discover might just change the way you see everything, from your innermost thoughts to the farthest stars. This principle, the principle of correspondence, teaches that reality is not a chaotic tangle, but a fractal tapestry. Patterns repeat. The structure of a snowflake resembles the branching of a tree. The spiraling of a seashell mirrors the arms of a galaxy. The way your neurons fire echoes the structure of cosmic webs. Everything in existence is connected. Every part contains the whole, just as every drop of the ocean carries the flavor of the sea. Consider this: every cell in your body holds the complete genetic blueprint of your entire organism. Each cell, in a very real sense, is a tiny version of you, a microcosm. And just as the movement of electrons around a nucleus resembles the orbit of planets around stars, these seemingly separate layers of reality reveal a deeper unity. This isn't just mysticism. Physicists, too, have begun to uncover the fractal nature of the universe. From quantum particles to cosmic structures, the same mathematical principles appear again and again. Coincidence or correspondence? What this tells us is staggering. The outer world reflects the inner world, and the inner world reflects the outer. This is the mirror of the universe, the sacred lens through which we begin to see reality not as separate domains of mind and matter, spirit and substance, but as a unified field of echoes and reflections. Imagine your life as a lake. When the water is calm and still, the sky above is perfectly reflected. But if the surface is turbulent, distorted by winds of fear or storms of anger, then even the clearest heavens look broken. That is the power of the inner world to shape the outer. The Hermeticists taught that if you want to change the world around you, you must begin by changing the world within. You must become an alchemist, not of metals, but of the soul. Because as you shift your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, you shift your reality. And this isn't just philosophy. This is neuroscience. This is psychology. This is physics. Your perceptions literally filter what you can and cannot see. Your brain edits reality based on your expectations, your memories, your internal state. Spirituality simply recognized this long before science gave it language. Even Jesus in his teachings touched upon this cosmic truth. In Luke 17:21, he said, "The kingdom of God is within you." This was not merely a moral or symbolic statement. It was metaphysical. It was hermetic. It was a declaration that the divine does not dwell in some distant heaven, but in the silent sanctuary of your own heart. The cosmos contains infinite potential, and so do you. You are not a passive observer in this universe. You are a reflection of it, a participant in it. You are made of stardust, yes, but also of the same living intelligence that gave birth to the stars themselves. Hermetic philosophy echoes this with clarity. Each person is a microcosm, a miniature universe. And when we expand ourselves inwardly, spiritually, consciously, we begin to align with the greater universe around us. In other words, the more we remember our true nature, the more the outer world begins to shift in resonance. Plotinus, the great Neoplatonist philosopher, once said, "The more a man knows himself, the more he knows the universe and what is beyond it." This profound insight echoes the Hermetic view that self-knowledge is not selfish, it is sacred. Because in understanding your own inner universe, you gain insight into the greater cosmos. Think about that. Your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your memories are not trivial. They are cosmic. When you feel peace, it radiates out. When you heal your wounds, you contribute to the healing of the collective. When you forgive, when you love, when you expand your consciousness, you are not just changing your life. You are shifting the field of reality itself. That's how powerful you are. Let's take it deeper. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist whose work we often reference on this channel, described the personal unconscious as a mirror of the collective unconscious. He believed that within us lies a reservoir of universal symbols, archetypes, and patterns that shape how we experience life. These archetypes are like constellations inside the psyche. They guide our choices, our fears, our dreams. They connect us to the stories of humanity, to myth, to meaning. And like the cosmos, your inner world is constantly shifting, evolving, pulsing with energy. The same way stars are born and die, your inner realities are formed and dissolved. Your identity, your beliefs, your sense of self, these are not static. They are part of a living, breathing universe within. To explore this inner world is not narcissism, it's the greatest adventure of all. Because in discovering the depths of your soul, you find the thread that connects you to all that is. And here's where Hermeticism offers a bridge between science and spirit, between observation and experience, between the abstract and the intimate. This journey is not about escaping the world, it's about integrating it. It's not about rejecting the material, but recognizing its sacred origin. It's not about becoming something else. It's about remembering what you already are, a reflection of the universe. The alchemists understood this. Paracelsus, a master of both medicine and mysticism, said that the first step to understanding the world is understanding yourself. The true work of alchemy, he believed, was not turning lead into gold, but transforming fear into courage, confusion into clarity, ego into soul. When you begin that process, you begin to align with the deeper rhythm of the universe. You begin to live in harmony with the flow of life itself. So what does this mean for you? It means that every time you meditate, every time you reflect, every time you choose love over fear, you are performing spiritual alchemy. You are transforming your inner lead into gold. You are becoming more than just a person. You are becoming a conscious participant in the divine pattern of life. As above, so below is more than a phrase. It is a map, a sacred key. It tells us that the world is not random, that meaning is not an illusion, that the divine is not elsewhere but here now and also within you. So the next time you feel small, lost, disconnected, look up at the stars and then look inward. You will see the same beauty reflected in both directions because you are not separated from the universe. You are the universe remembering itself. Just as we began to see on the previous page how the spiritual and material worlds mirror each other like two sides of the same coin, now we take a deeper step into this mystery to understand how spirit gives form to matter in everyday life. According to the Hermetic principle of correspondence, spirit is the original causal plane, the invisible blueprint from which all ideas, energies, and forms emerge. Matter, in contrast, is the reflection or echo of this source. Imagine the spirit as a projector in the material world as the image cast onto the screen of existence. Without the light of spirit, the screen remains blank. Everything we see, touch, or experience in the physical world is shaped by these unseen spiritual forces. Matter exists only because of the presence and constant motion of this deeper underlying energy. It's not autonomous, it doesn't act or arise on its own. Instead, it responds to the currents flowing from the spiritual dimension. The visible world, then, is not random or isolated. It is sculpted, shaped, and sustained by an invisible architecture, much like how a statue begins as a vision in the mind of the sculptor before it is carved into stone. This understanding leads us to a powerful realization: any change we desire in our physical reality must begin with a change on the spiritual plane. Whether it's a goal, a transformation, or a healing, It always starts with intention, an invisible seed planted in the soil of the soul. Thought, imagination, vision. These are not idle forces. They are the architects of reality. Consider a practical example that exists within your own body DNA. Invisible to the naked eye, yet it contains the entire instruction manual for building a complex human organism. DNA is unseen, yet it holds the essence of life itself. This relationship mirrors the connection between spirit and matter. DNA is to the body what spirit is to the material world, an origin point, an invisible intelligence that gives rise to form. From this perspective, we realize that by aligning our thoughts and intentions with spiritual laws, we begin to shape matter not through force or manipulation, but through resonance. It's not about bending the material world to our will, but rather coming into harmony with the deeper patterns that already govern it. For example, someone who seeks prosperity must first look inward. Abundance is not something to chase, it is something to align with. It begins with the cultivation of inner beliefs of worthiness, gratitude, confidence. These spiritual qualities generate an energetic vibration and, slowly like ripples in a pond, they begin to reflect outward into the material world through opportunities, synchronicities, and supportive circumstances. Even when change seems slow, it is quietly unfolding beneath the surface. This is the dance of life, the eternal movement, between the visible and the invisible, the form and the formless. It is not about choosing one over the other, but about weaving both into a single thread of understanding. True alchemy lies not in turning lead into gold, but in recognizing that every material experience is a reflection of something deeper, something sacred. That's why our spiritual practices, whether meditation, introspection, prayer, or journaling, hold such power. They are not escapist rituals. They are tools for realigning with the source. Every moment we spend connecting to our inner world is a moment spent shaping the outer one. Through this integration, the search for meaning becomes not an abstract journey, but a practical force that brings depth and purpose into our everyday lives. Ultimately, the principle of correspondence reveals a profound truth. The separation we perceive between spirit and matter is only a trick of the mind, a limitation of our perception. In truth, they are one and the same, simply vibrating at different frequencies. Spirit manifests as matter just as white light refracts through a prism into many colors, each shade distinct yet all part of the same source. Understanding this gives us spiritual freedom. We no longer feel the need to reject or escape the physical world to find higher meaning. On the contrary, we begin to honor the material world as an expression of spirit in motion. Our spiritual journey is not about leaving behind the body, but about embodying the spirit more fully. Not about rising above the earth, but about walking upon it with awareness and reverence. And this awareness isn't just philosophical, it's woven into nature itself. Everywhere we look, we see the maxim as above, so below, unfolding before our eyes. Take fractals, for instance, patterns that repeat on every scale from the microscopic veins of a leaf to the swirling arms of galaxies. Nature follows a design, a geometry that reflects the intelligence of the cosmos. Whether you're observing the spiral of a nautilus shell or the Fibonacci sequence in sunflower petals, you're witnessing a sacred symmetry, the same law echoing across dimensions. This isn't symbolism, it's structure. Sacred geometry reveals that the same code organizing the birth of stars also guides the growth of trees. The same patterns that govern the movement of atoms also shape oceans, mountains, and skies. From the subatomic to the galactic, nature speaks in a language of repetition, harmony, and balance. Even the life cycles around us whisper this principle. The rhythm of birth, death, and rebirth echoes through everything from the changing seasons to the human experience. Nothing truly ends. It only transforms. And within our own bodies, this harmony is mirrored again. The circulatory system, with its flowing rivers of blood, mirrors the Earth's waterways, the hydrological system. Blood moves through the heart and lungs, much like rivers and streams wind toward the ocean. Both systems operate on the same principle of flow, nourishment, and return. This is not coincidence. It is correspondence. The Earth is a macrocosm of our inner world, and we are the microcosm of the universe. By recognizing this, we begin to live not in separation, but in harmony with all that is. Just as we began to grasp how the universe reflects itself in layers from galaxies to neurons, This principle of correspondence continues to unfold in the rhythms of everyday life. We see it in the simplest of cycles, sleep and wakefulness, breath in and breath out, the silent orchestration of cellular activity, and even in the grand rotation of planets. These aren't random occurrences. They're rhythmic echoes of the same cosmic code repeating in both the vastness of space and the intimacy of our bodies. The principle of correspondence isn't just poetic philosophy. It's an observable pattern woven into the fabric of all living systems. One of the most striking illustrations of this law emerges in the uncanny similarity between atoms and solar systems. Imagine an atom, its nucleus, sitting calmly at the center, while electrons revolve in motion around it. Now picture our solar system, the sun shining at its core, with planets spinning in orbit. Though vastly different in size, the structure is astoundingly alike. This resemblance has intrigued both scientists and mystics for generations. Could it be that the universe is built on repeating templates? Some believe the cosmos may be holographic in nature, meaning each part contains the whole, just like a fractal image or a hologram. From the microscopic to the cosmic, the same patterns appear to echo again and again. This revelation suggests we're not living in a chaotic or fragmented universe, but in one that is deeply ordered, where the small mirrors, the great and the internal reflects the external. Pythagoras, the ancient Greek philosopher and mathematician, once said that numbers are the principle of all things. To him, reality itself was sculpted through mathematics and sacred geometry patterns that govern the dance of galaxies just as much as the spin of a single electron. This idea of unity through reflection also shows up in the exploration of consciousness. The physicist David Bohm, a contemporary of Albert Einstein, introduced a profound concept known as the hollow movement. According to Bohm, reality is not made of separate, disconnected parts. Instead, it is a continuous flowing whole, a unified field where everything is interconnected. Just like a hologram, each part of the whole contains an image of the entire structure. In essence, every piece of the universe carries within it the signature of the totality. Whatever happens in one corner of reality subtly ripples out, influencing everything else, just like a drop in water, sending waves across a still pond. Mathematician Benoit Mandelbrot's discovery of fractals brought this concept even further to life. These complex, self-repeating patterns are found in snowflakes, coastlines, trees, lightning, and even in our own lungs and blood vessels. They are the signature of life's recursive nature patterns that whisper again and again, as above, so below. Seen through this lens, every detail in nature becomes a reflection of something greater. The outer world mirrors the inner. Our physical health, our energy levels, our posture and appearance, all are shaped by something less visible, our thoughts, our intentions, and most of all, our daily habits. Every action we repeat, no matter how small, acts like a brushstroke painting the canvas of our reality. These acts arise from the mind, and over time they manifest in physical form. Consider the image of throwing a pebble into a lake. It may be tiny, but the ripples expand outward, affecting the entire surface. Likewise, our consistent thoughts and behaviors create ripples that shape our bodies, our relationships, and our destiny. When we understand this, our physical, emotional, and even financial conditions begin to make more sense. They are not isolated events. They are reflections, the tangible results of our inner states. Every craving we indulge, every emotion we suppress, every choice we postpone, these don't vanish, they collect. They build a story that becomes visible over time. A person who nurtures clarity, purpose, and discipline mentally will inevitably see that reflected outwardly. Their body habits and lifestyle start to align with this inner structure. Regular sleep, mindful eating, physical activity. These aren't just routines. They are the body's way of honoring an organized, focused mind. On the flip side, someone whose inner world is chaotic, who lacks mental clarity or discipline, will often struggle with disorganized behaviors. Inconsistent sleep, emotional eating, constant fatigue. These aren't merely symptoms. They are messages, physical echoes of a distracted, unfocused mind. And when we constantly seek comfort over growth, choosing processed foods, skipping exercise, staying up late, we pay the price not just in health, but in vitality, creativity, and emotional resilience. Think of someone who procrastinates endlessly, who ignores the signals of the body, who numbs with distraction. Their physical form often reflects that disorder, excess weight, chronic fatigue, mood swings. As Aristotle once said with timeless wisdom, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. What we become is not forged in one great moment, but in the quiet repetition of seemingly insignificant actions. Those who devote even 10 minutes a day to care, be it stretching, reading, or simply breathing deeply, are nurturing seeds that eventually bloom into lifelong strength. These tiny rituals of discipline over time generate momentum. They carry us forward. They shape the trajectory of our lives. To an outsider, a person's transformation may look sudden like magic. But underneath it all are hundreds, if not thousands, of small decisions made with care and intention. This is how the law of correspondence truly comes alive. It's not just about atoms and galaxies, it's about the daily miracle of cause and effect, of micro choices that reshape the macro narrative of our lives. Something as small as drinking more water each day may seem trivial, but over time it impacts energy, mood, skin, digestion. It becomes a thread in the tapestry of overall well-being. This is the beauty of the principle. What begins in the mind takes root in habit and blossoms into visible change. So if we long for transformation in our body, our health, our relationships, we must begin within. Because the outer world is always a reflection of the inner terrain. This is the wisdom of correspondence. When we shift our mindset, when we cultivate beliefs rooted in discipline, self-care, and love, our habits inevitably follow. And as our habits change, so too does our environment, our body, our reality. A strong physique, a clear and focused mind, a well-structured life. These are all signs of a soul that knows its purpose and walks with intention. Every small choice becomes a thread in a greater design, a whisper of the soul made manifest in the physical realm.